1 year ago today, the silver price was around $30 per ounce. Today, we're at what? $72 per ounce. We are experiencing a historic run in the silver and gold price. We are also experiencing, when it comes to silver, historic levels of volatility. But there's a big, big but to that. We need to remember with silver, right? Volatility is not a bug, it is a feature, right? It's part of the silver process. Volatility is also an inherent part of any major move up in any asset. Look at Amazon stock over the years. Look at Microsoft stock. Look at Nvidia stock, if you will. All of them have gone way up, but during that process, there were major pullbacks. We know for sure when it comes to the gold market and the silver market, even during that 1970 to 1980 run in the silver price, when it went from $1.50 per ounce all the way to $50, was it 1974? The price dropped by like 47%. So the volatility that we're experiencing today, while none of us like it, right? I can put a phony smile on my face. It's part of the process. And we're going to talk about like 15 things about silver and gold that will tell us big facts, big stories that give us evidence that this rally is not over. That's my steadfast belief. Let's go take a quick look at the silver price, get that out of the way, take our medicine here, take our blood pressure medicine before we do it. So as you can see, I think it's come back a little bit. We're about $72 and hold on a second, having some tech issues. $72.72, 72.72. I think we like 85.85 or 99.99 a lot better. But guys, again, this is part of the process. Oh, and what's going on? Well, it's happening. Okay. Everybody said that when the Chinese market closed for their Chinese New Year celebration, the Chinese Shanghai Gold Exchange and Futures Exchange are closed all week, that the fine people at the LBMA in London, England, and the COMEX in New York were in charge of the precious metals prices, and that we would likely see a slam down. For now, that's happening. I'm on record saying that by this Sunday, when we have our Sunday live stream, that the prices will actually be up from last Sunday. I could be dead wrong, but I still believe that we've got a good chance of that happening. We'll see how it all plays out. Let's go take a look at what's going on. We got a lot to cover today, guys. There's a ton going on in the world of precious metals, and we'll start here. This came from just Dario, who pointed out an incredible fact about what's happening in the silver market. He said, weirder. FYI, this number is the 30-day implied volatility derived from options on silver futures listed on the CME group. So this is the volatility measurement. It's kind of like the VIX, if you know what that is, for silver futures. And it is like at a massive high level. Basically, that's usually around like 40. What that indicates is that there's future anticipation in the futures markets that there's going to be big levels of volatility. That's called the C-vol. You can see right there. And he gave us a definition. The C-vol tracks forward-looking risk expectations on silver with the CME Group Volatility Index. That's called the C-vol, a robust measure of 30-day implied volatility derived from options on silver futures. So what that's telling us is that the big money, the big bettors on the futures exchange are anticipating big moves in the silver price. Again, right? Today it feels like that can only go down. But guess what, guys? It can also go up as well. And look at this, more crazy news. This is from China about the premium people are paying for physical silver in China. Hold on, wrong one. We'll get to that next. First, we'll do this. Silver trade reminds us there's only 10 days left until as much as 294 million ounces of silver could stand for delivery at the COMEX, okay? March silver open interest dropped slightly on Friday, down to 58,770 as 43% of open interest has rolled forward to the May contract. So we still have the situation where there's a large open interest, but only around 100 million ounces in the registered category at the COMEX, right? And some people are saying that there's been a bank run on the COMEX, right? And that the COMEX is really the only real bank, as ironic as that is, left in the United States, because they're the only ones who have any real money, that being silver, in their vault. But that there's now a run on that bank, a run on that COMEX registered silver in their vault. So that'll be another interesting thing for us to watch here in the coming few days. Now, let's go to China. Man, there is so much happening. We are just getting started here, guys, because this one, massive shortage of physical silver persists in China. The Shanghai physical silver contract is sitting at $99.73 an ounce. Okay, that is this one right here. Let me get out my markers. I dug into this a little bit so I could explain this. Hold on. I'm going to move this out of the way. This right here is the physical contract, the AG 99.99. And where we see that there is a $16 premium on that right now. That's the physical contract. This one up here is like negotiable in terms of the when it can be delivered. And this one down here is obviously the Shanghai Futures Exchange, which is always for a future delivery date. So the actual physical metal, according to this, in China is going at $99 per ounce. Again, that was as of yesterday. Prices, well, in the U.S. here have changed, but it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And that was probably based off of Friday's close. Now, another interesting, quick little reminder, public service. Hold on. Hold on. Now we're back. Hopefully you can see me and hear me. Public service announcement, right? This is a physical rally in silver. Remember, guys, 1 year ago today, we had around $30 per ounce silver. A physical rally is what has caused this to happen. And a lot of that has to do with China. And we got a great, simple, powerful reminder right here about why we are keeping a close eye on China. This comes from Jeffrey Christian's wig. Reminder, China has cut off 70% of the global supply of silver. What does he mean by that? What he means is China has implemented export controls on silver. They're not letting silver go out of the country. They're making it very, very difficult. But the reason why that's important is because China refines between 60 and 70% of the world's global supply of silver. So the massive refiner, the country that actually makes the metal, right, makes the final process of getting the final silver, is saying, no, it's not leaving the country. Yes, 60 to 70%, right, of the world's supply is now being hoarded basically in China. Oh, yeah, and by the way, they're on a 1 week holiday. Hey, wouldn't it be nice to live in China and get a whole week off for New Year's? I like horses. You like horses. We all love the horses. And what about a good, healthy reminder of this? Do you know what this is? Right? Is that a dollar? That's a U.S. dollar, right? Paper money, make-believe money, fantasy island money. No, if you look closely on the bottom of this, you will see at the top, and my finger's in the way. Hold on here. At the top, it says, see it right there, silver certificate. And on the bottom, it says payable to the bearer on demand in silver. Okay. Take a look at this. So we got to remember, we aren't collecting dollars. We are collecting silver. Make gold great. Oh, wrong one. Hold on here. There it is. We'll get back to that one. Okay. Legalized counterfeiting. Make sure we got you on the right screen. And we do. Okay, legalized counterfeiting. There's a dollar, right? A silver dollar. What I just showed you is a receipt for $1. Can we get that? Nah, that's worse. Let's go back. A receipt for $1, right? Which was what I just showed you, a silver certificate payable to the bearer on demand in silver. This is a counterfeit receipt, right? Based on basically nothing, guys, based on basically nothing. Now, before we forget, man, we are all over the place. Let's also remind ourselves of this when it comes to silver. Make Gold Great Again shared a powerful statement. Silver is the most electrically conductive element on the periodic table. And okay, which is great. That's important, right? But our entire civilization is built around electricity. And he says here, and 1 ounce of silver is currently cheaper than a pair of Nikes. Man, when we think about silver, guy, I mean, we have to remember, right? Like we've called it the energy metal of the future, right? Oil used to be what was the energy commodity. Silver is the new energy commodity, whether you're talking about solar generation, whether you're talking, and we talked about now twice about how what Elon Musk said about solar. Sorry, I get those two mixed up, solar and silver, because there's so much silver used in solar, but it's a fact. Okay, solar panel manufacturing is continuing to explode, and that really is the future of electric generation. But to realize, right, that silver is the electricity metal. It is. It's like the new energy commodity of the future. And then on top of that, there's this other little fact that sometimes we maybe forget about, right? That it has its huge monetary component as well. Silver was used as money way before gold was, well, not way before, but definitely before gold was used as money. And now we're going to look, and then we got a ton to talk about gold as well. But let's go and just do a quick reminder of this, right? The gold to silver ratio throughout time. Okay, let's go down. Let's just pull the chart up and take a look. You know, currently we're at about 65, 66 to 1, maybe pushing 70 today. But guys, when we go back in time, we see that, right? At times it was 2.5 to 1, 10 to 1, 15, 16 to 1, right? And that's not that long ago. Our current ratio, it's 65 to 1. Given what we just talked about when it comes to just the massive demand that we have right now in the world for silver, from both a monetary and from a industrial perspective, makes the future look really, really bright. We're going to watch. Today's video is sponsored by Masivo Silver. I've got about a 5-minute video for us to watch that covers what's going on in silver and the junior mining sector as well. And then we're going to come back and talk about more about silver, but some crazy facts about gold as well. I'll be right back. What if I told you a billionaire resource investor has quietly invested in a tiny $10 million market cap silver explorer while the rest of the world is distracted by headlines? We all know the price of silver has been on an incredible run, and for good reason. But here's a secret only the pros know. Billionaires like Eric Sprott just don't buy physical bullion once the price is already moved. They buy the small cap miners before the crowd shows up. Today, we're talking about Masivo Silver. It's a micro cap explorer with a 10 million market cap, billionaire backing, and the drill rigs are turning right now. If you've been waiting for a dip in the silver bull market to get positioned, this is the setup you need to see. First, let's take a look at the big picture. We saw silver surge 50% in January alone. We've had a recent pullback with the broader market, but don't let that fool you. The structural bull market is just getting started. This isn't just speculation. We're seeing a massive widening supply deficit. HSBC expects that deficit to grow even further this year. Why? Because silver isn't just a precious metal anymore. It's the green gold of the energy transition. Between the explosion in solar panel demand and the electrification of the global EV fleet, industrial demand is cannibalizing supply. When you have record demand hitting a wall of limited supply, the price has only one way to go. We've had a massive rally, and we're now seeing a healthy dip. Historically, these pullbacks are the ultimate entry points. Now, you can buy physical silver, and you'll likely do very well. But if you want torque, if you want to outperform the metal itself, you look to the junior miners. When silver goes up 2x or 3x, a successful junior explorer can move 5x, 10x, or more because of operating leverage. Investors look for early-stage companies that can benefit most from higher prices and new discoveries. That's exactly where Masivo Silver fits in. They offer early-stage exposure in the best neighborhoods, Mexico and Nevada. So why Masivo specifically? Number one, the jurisdictions. They're exploring in Mexico and Nevada, the heavyweights of silver production. Number two, the catalyst. They're currently drilling their flagship project in Mexico. In this market, one positive drill hole can re-rate a stock overnight. Number three, the structure. They have a low share count and a tiny $10 million market cap. Because they're so small, even a modest discovery could lead to outsized gains. A big green flag for me is following the smart money. And Masivo Silver counts Eric Sprott as one of their stakeholders. He's a precious metals mining investing legend. And when a man with his track record takes a position in a 10 million market cap junior silver explorer, you have to ask yourself what he sees that the retail market hasn't yet noticed. Look, most people chase silver after it runs. The smart money positions itself while the rigs are turning and the market is quiet. Masivo Silver is a rare setup. You have billionaire validation, a tiny market cap, and active drilling in a structural bull market. If silver keeps climbing, stocks like Masivo can move way faster than the metal itself. I'm super interested to watch how the story develops with Masivo Silver. Do your own due diligence and watch those drill results closely. The silver bull likely isn't over, it's just getting started. Masivo Silver stock is traded in Canada with the symbol MASS and in the United States with the symbol GNYPF. You can also learn more about the company at their website, masivosilver.com. I am not a financial advisor. Always do your own research. Always be responsible before you make any investment or financial decisions. Speaking of investment decisions, what about Warren Buffett, right? The guy that gets all these accolades as being so smart. Do you know he said some very negative things about precious metals? At one point, Warren Buffett actually owned a lot of silver. I think it was back in maybe the mid 90s, if I remember correctly, but he's really bashed gold. And there's a super interesting statistic that came out. See if I can find this for us right now. And nope, that's not it. Hold on here. Okay, here it is, right here. This is going all over. Gold. Thank you, Silver Trade. You've had a lot of good information today. Warren Buffett said gold has no utility. Okay, however, it has now dramatically outperformed Berkshire Hathaway, right? That famous investment fund headed by Warren Buffett since 1998. For those unfamiliar with Warren Buffett's hatred of gold, he stated this in a speech in 1998, quote, "Gold gets dug out of the ground in Africa or someplace. Then we melt it down, dig another hole, bury it again, and pay people to stand around guarding it. It has no utility." Well, hilariously, that gold with no utility, if we look at this chart, is actually, gold is the red line on this chart, has actually far outperformed Berkshire Hathaway going back to 1998. Now, there's some other crazy news. We're going to talk about gold because gold, right? Gold is the granddaddy. Grand is the grand poopah of the precious metals, no doubt about it. And there's some crazy bets being made in the options market on the gold price. This is another story that's getting a lot of attention within the precious metals market. Gold 20,000 calls. Okay, these are options. Surged to 11,000 contracts. Deep out of the money, December gold contracts for the $15,000 to $20,000 call spread are surging. Who exactly is betting on gold 3x and 4x from here? So what a call spread is, just so you know what that person or persons is doing, they're basically making a bet that by December, the gold price is going to be between 15,000 and 20,000. To get technical, they buy a call, which is a contract that allows you to buy something at a certain price on a certain date. They're buying a call for 15,000 and they're selling a call for 20,000. Okay, so if the price goes from somewhere between $15,000 and $20,000, they're in the money. If it goes above 20, they don't get to participate in that game. But the big key takeaway here is there's a massive number of contracts. Somebody's making a huge bet that by December, we're going to get the gold price between $15,000 and $20,000. Let's go look at the gold versus the NASDAQ. Man, it's just, we got a lot more to cover, guys. I appreciate you being here, especially on a rather dreadful day in the markets. Jordan Roy Byrne, one of everybody's favorites, put this out. Gold, right screen. Yep, there we go. Gold quietly hit a 9-year relative high versus the NASDAQ last week. Another sign of rotation beneath the surface. So gold is outperforming the NASDAQ and from a relative high, not outperforming. Let me back up. It may be outperforming, but on a relative basis, it hit a 9-year high in terms of gold's performance versus the NASDAQ. Oh, more fun. Let's go to this one. Kinesis Money put this out, okay? Since 1970, the U.S. dollar has lost 88. Wrong screen. There you go. Since 1970, the United States dollar, right? Not that thing that I showed you earlier. That was a silver certificate, but the U.S. dollar, and that's right about when Nixon took the United States off the gold standard. Since then, the dollar's lost 88% of its value, while gold is up 3,000%, which is what? 30x, not 30%, 30 times. Holding cash destroys purchasing power. Holding gold preserves it. And here's more proof right here. Man, this is some really great, interesting information. Cole Walmsley says, this is insane. Okay, listen to this. In 1971, gold was $43 per ounce. The average hourly wage was $3.70. The amount of time you needed to work to buy 1 ounce of gold was about 11.6 hours. So you had to work about 12 hours in 1971, 12 hours to buy 1 ounce of gold. What about today? Gold's around $5,000 an ounce. Average hourly wage, $28. Time needed to buy number of hours needed to be worked to buy 1 ounce of gold today, 180 hours. Wow, that just shows us how much things have changed and how much in real terms and nominal terms, the value of the dollar has just gone down the tube. So that's crazy. 1971, I was 1 year old. My dad could work, if he was making the average wage, for 12 hours, let's say, and buy 1 ounce of gold. Today, if I'm working, if you're working for the average hourly wage of $28, you're going to work probably 15 times more hours. Okay, unbelievable. But do you think we can tie that into silver? Because nobody's going to have jobs. If you heard about AI, AI is going to take everybody's job. Will it take my job? I don't know. Maybe I can just have an AI Ron. By the way, I want to clear something up with everyone out there in the gold and silver community. I was the AI gold and silver guy before anybody else. When I first started, people accused me of this being AI. This is real, okay? I'm going to prove it to you, right? Here. My regular channel sponsor, First Mint, that's a real sign. I'll bang it against my head for you. But now what they're saying, and thank you to my regular channel sponsor, First Mining Gold as well, they're saying AI is going to take all our jobs, but what does that mean? There's a good news for you silver stackers out there, because AI is going to take everybody's job, right? That's what they're telling us. That guy from Microsoft said within 5 years. But what does that have to do with silver? Well, our good friend, Make Gold Great Again, he's always knocking it out of the park. He says right there, artificial intelligence will take my job, but artificial intelligence will need my silver. Checkmate, mister. So while everybody's talking about AI taking all the jobs, and it won't take all the jobs, and who knows how that plays out, but what they're forgetting, right, is that all this tech, remember earlier we talked about, right, that silver is the most electrically conductive metal on the face of the earth, period. Okay, so microchips, all these electronics that are needed, all the power, electricity that's needed to back up all this massive AI revolution that we're having, it all needs silver. They need solar panels to create the electricity that goes into the, what are those called, server farm, where they got a bunch of computers that need a bunch of silver. So yeah, sure, AI can take our jobs, but those silver stackers, sheep noise warning, those silver stackers out there like you, right? And you're just a small part of the US population, right? You're going to be okay. Those other people, the other 98%, when they want to come join, well, there's just not going to be too many seats left at the table. I mean, we've already got, I mean, the retail silver market is so sensitive. The slightest bump, we know the big online bullion dealers are still saying shipping delays. But when those people who we like to affectionately refer to as the sheep noise warning, when they show up looking for silver, well, they may not have jobs because AI took it, and there's not going to be any silver left because you took it. And China, who keeps hoarding that 70% of the world's silver. Speaking of China, speaking of the dollar, look at this. I didn't realize it had gotten this grim, guys. China is exiting the system. This comes from Weimar X. 1.2 trillion of US dollar exposure just got erased from China's balance sheet. We're going to look at a chart. China's foreign exchange reserves dumped from 4 trillion down to 3.3 trillion. China's US Treasury holdings dumped from 1.3 trillion all the way down to 683 billion. And at the same time, China's gold holdings pumped to about 74.19 million ounces. Wow. And about 370 billion. They're loading every free billion into gold. That one fact explains a lot. Okay, here, let's go down and just look at these charts. Unbelievable. This chart, okay, the red line shows China's U.S. Treasury holdings. I mean, look at this. 2005, right? That's not that long ago. Even probably in through 2010, they were all the way up here, 29%. Now, all the way down to 7.3%. Do you see the downward trend? However, right, the purple line represents China's gold holdings as a percentage of their total holdings. Do you see a trend here going up and up and up? I don't want doom and gloom for the US dollar. I love this country. I was born here. I love what our founding fathers laid out for us. Those guys made major sacrifices, and they put gold and silver in the United States Constitution. But the reality is what it is. In China, you know, the whole deal we had with China was, yeah, sure, we'll let you ship all your manufactured products over here during the 80s, the 90s, the last 20 years. Okay, but the deal is, China, if we buy all that stuff from you and we give you dollars, you need to buy US treasuries. Okay, we did the same thing with oil with the Saudis in the Middle East. Now everybody's kind of calling monkey and saying, you know what? We don't know that we want to put all of our money into US treasuries anymore. It's going to create a situation where nobody is, look, real simple. This is key to understand. The national debt is exploding. I read something the other night that it's going to go up like 2.5 trillion a year to like, I don't know, the year 2036. Crazy. Like we're going to be at 60 trillion before we know it. But the key thing is like that debt is huge. The interest expense is huge, but it's all happening at a time when the world is saying, you know, we're not so interested anymore in buying your debt. Okay, what's going to only thing that can work in that situation is our old friends at the Federal Reserve turning on the printing presses, printing money, and buying the debt themselves, creating dollars out of thin air, okay, and using that money to buy the debt. That's called monetization of debt, monetizing the debt. The big takeaway out of all that is that that will only continue to decrease the real value of the US dollar, what it really can buy. And that will be a huge, huge support factor and hugely beneficial for the price of gold and silver if we choose to use the US dollar as the yardstick by which we measure the price of the asset. Let's talk about the $6,000 club. I've been meaning to share it. I apologize. I've been meaning to share this with you guys for months and months. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to ask you, please subscribe to the channel. We're still running that special for you through 2026. It's free to subscribe to Ron's Basement. We don't charge for anything. You give us your time. You give us your camaraderie. You give us great comments in the comment section. Okay, the least we can do is give you some fun down here in the basement. Seriously, it's a big deal when you come here. Let's talk about $6,000, the $6,000 gold club. Hold on. Let me pull this up. I'm going to slow down. Okay. This came from Metals and Miners. And this was from, I've been meaning to share this for a long time. There's just so much going on. But the big thing here is all the big banks that are calling for $6,000 gold. All right. Let's start at the top and read through these together. JP Morgan is calling for 6,000. Deutsche Bank, UBS, right? That's the big giant Swiss bank. Switzerland, remember secret Swiss bank accounts? Bank of America, the giant American bank. Jefferies, and there's more, are all in on the falling dollar. They call that the debasement trade. And we coined that phrase like 3 years ago down here in the basement. We said it's debasement trade. The dollar going down and gold and silver going up. Central banks increasing and retail stampede is coming. Okay. So we won't even dive any deeper into that, guys, but let's just say that those big banks are calling for at least $6,000 gold. But then we get this one from Business Insider. Right now, JP Morgan is saying that the gold price can recover and surge 34% by the end of the year. They're calling for, oh, shoot. Hold on here. Let's get rid of that. They're calling for $6,300 gold. So the chart for gold might look scary after last week's plunge, but JP Morgan says investors shouldn't bail on the yellow metal. And here we go. The investment bank, I'll highlight it. The investment bank updated its 2026 price target for gold to $6,300 per ounce. So guys, when we let's think about everything going on in the world geopolitically. Okay, geopolitically, what's going on in the world? Remember last week, the gold price plunge was because Russia was suddenly going to start using the dollar again. And then a couple days later, the TASS news agency, which is the Russian news agency, came out and said, no, that Bloomberg report, we don't know what they're talking about. The head of their central bank came out and said, we have no conversations going on about going back to the dollar. Geopolitically, check, right? Things are more tense now than ever. A lot of that is caused by the second factor, which is super important, and that is the financial condition, not only of the United States, but of the entire world. It's not just the U.S., it's all the Western fiat countries, right, that are just printing money. They're all in the situation where everyone's falling in real value simultaneously. Yeah, sure, you can look at the DXY index and compare them to each other, but it's like I've heard somebody once say it's like four guys jumping off the top of the Empire State Building and they're all falling, and the one guy's like, well, I'm falling the slowest, right? It doesn't matter. Geopolitically, the world's a mess. Financially, the world's a mess. When we focus in on silver in particular, right? Think about this. The cherry on top for silver is, so not only because of those two factors is silver positioned to do well, but we also have the fundamental factor of the industrial demand for silver. The fact that China, like we talked about earlier, refines 60 to 70% of the world's silver, and they're hoarding it. Thank you, upstairs Susie. Okay, sounds good. That's for those of you who are new, that was upstairs Susie. That's my lovely wife and assistant. I will get to the super chats. It's the future looks good. Okay, the future looks good. Let's go out and take a look. I want to say thank you. Super chats, never expected, always appreciated. So thank you, my friend. Hey, Renegade Designer, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And then we've got another one here from Dean Eba. You can watch me struggle here, guys. I'm going to try to see if I can read this. My eyes are getting bad. What is your price prediction for silver by the end of the year? Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot. My previous price prediction for silver, which I came out with in late 2024, was that we would hit $65 by April Fool's Day. I didn't mean that the price of silver was going to go to 120 and then come back to $65 by April Fool's Day. But back in October, September of last year, I think we all would have been really happy to see $65 by April Fool's Day. I'm not avoiding your question. I'll answer your question this way. When I look at the end of the year, December 31st, 2026, and I think of everything going on out there, all the different factors, I would say that we're either going to be, I'm not going to give a range, but I'll give two areas. We're either going to be at, I'll give the bad news first, $65 per ounce. I stick by that, $65 per ounce, or we are going to be in the mid to high 90s, okay? 90, 94, 98, 97, somewhere in that range per ounce for silver by the end of this year. I want to reiterate, long term, I believe, me personally, when I look out 3, 5, if you asked me where I thought the silver price is going to be 8 years from now, I would say $800. 6 years from now, $600. Okay. 7 years, $700. And of course, those aren't exact predictions, but those big numbers is when I look at what's happening right now, if we are going to price silver in US dollars, what's happening again, geopolitically, financially, monetarily, fiscally in the world, that when we go out 5, 10, 15 years, that's why we always talk about silver and gold are generational investments. People who ask me about how to sell silver, I can tell you how to buy it. Okay. You might check out channel sponsor First Met. That's a great option, right? Always pay close to spot. When it comes to selling silver, I have no clue. I mean, I know, right? I have a local coin shop called Scotsman Coin. They publish a list of what they'll pay for different silver products, whatever, but I'm not the silver selling guru because I've never sold an ounce of silver. Any silver I bought, I store at an offsite location. I have never sold it because I look at it as a generational investment. I want to reiterate, because my truth, don't make any financial decisions. I'm not a financial advisor, but when I look out 5 years, 10 years, 20 years into the future, right? And at that point, I'll be 75 years old. I think I'll be down here. We'll be visiting together, and we will have silver prices that we could never even imagine. Okay. Guys, remember, a year ago today, silver was at $30 per ounce. We could not even imagine that we'd be on this live stream together crying because silver's down. Let's do an update. Let's make believe it's 1 year ago. And we go check the silver price. Hold on here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're at $72 per ounce right now in the spot market, $72.41. We would not have believed that a year ago. You would have said I was crazy. If I'd sat down here 1 year ago and said, I think that in a year, the silver price is going to be over $70 per ounce, my inbox would have filled up with people saying, you're a silver pumper. You're just trying to sell silver. By the way, like I am sponsored by First Mint, but I don't get any kind of commission off anything you guys buy. Okay. But I love First Mint. They're owned by First Majestic. I love First Majestic. Great company. And I feel 100% great. And the best part is that you guys that have worked with First Mint, that have bought silver, I've received nothing but positive, outstanding feedback. So anyway, take care. Okay. Thanks for being here. Don't forget, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, say hi to upstairs Susie. She loves you guys. Okay. Number one, take care of yourself. Be good. We're going to be okay. That's what I believe. We've said that for years down here, that we would navigate the choppy waters of the precious metals and that we do it together. It's a big honor when you join me down here in the basement. Take care, and I'll see you. Yeah, I see you. I'll see you next time.